Next, we're going to talk about context clues. This is a reading skill that can be used across any grade level. Context clues are clues the author gives within a text that help the reader to figure out the meaning of an unfamiliar word, a word that you do not know. Here are 5 types of context clues. The first type of context clue is a definition. Here, the author provides a direct or more explicit definition for the unknown word. Examples give additional information for the word you do not know. Inferences require you to use your prior knowledge and information that's found in the text. Synonyms use words that have a similar meaning that follow or precede the word you do not know. Antonyms give the opposite meaning of the unfamiliar word. Here is our first type of context clue. We have a definition. Definition context clues often signal by the word is, are, is defined as, means, or refers to. These are just some examples. Let's look at our first sentence. Martha is a curator, a person who is responsible for looking after a museum's collection. We have an underlined word, curator, that we don't know the meaning. This word has the definition that follows it. So, a curator is a person who is responsible for looking after a museum's collection. Let's read our next sentence. The ancient Chinese used the abacus, a device with movable beads that can be used as a calculator. Here, the definition follows the word we need a meaning for. Abacus is a device that was used as a calculator. Our next type of context clue is an example. This type of context clue is often signaled by these words, such as, for example, including, for instance, or in one case. Let's read our first example. Some animals are omnivores. Bears, for instance, eat whatever meat or plants they can find. This sentence gives an example of what an omnivore does. They eat whatever meat or plants they can find. So they eat plants and animals. So that tells us what omnivores are. Our next example of an example context clue. After getting in trouble for not doing my homework, my mom revoked all of my privileges. For example, I can't play video games for the rest of the week. Now, if you did not know what the word revoked meant, we have an example here, and we have a great signal word for example. So, he can't play his video games for the rest of the week. Revoked must have meant that things were taken away. Inferences. Here, we have to use our prior knowledge and information that we're given. Let's read the first sentence. The monkey's vociferous chatter made me wish I had earplugs. So we see the monkey, or the monkeys are chattering, or they're talking, and the person wishes, or the thing wishes they had earplugs. Anytime we need earplugs, we know that it's either loud or we don't want to hear something. So the monkeys may be loud. The next sentence. Walt's pugnacious behavior made his opponent back down. Here, we have to use our context clues to figure out the meaning of this word. Let's see, if someone, an opponent, was backing down, and it's referring to his behavior. Do you think he was a nice person to make them back down? Do you think they were having some type of competition? What type of person or what type of behavior do you think Walt was having? Let's take a moment and think about that. Let's see, Walt must have been aggressive or mean to make someone he's battling against back down. Here we have to think about what happens to make opponents back down or turn away. There must be some type of aggressive or some type of behavior that makes them want to go the other way. That's using our prior knowledge. Here's another type of context clue, an antonym. Here are some signal words that could signal to you that this is an antonym type of context clue. Different, unlike, though, opposite, by contrast, but, some, but others, on the other hand, not, despite, although, yet, then again, and whereas. Let's read our first sentence. Unlike Jamal's room, which was immaculate, Jeffrey's room was very messy. Here, we're trying to figure out what the word immaculate means. So, we have immaculate, and this is an antonym because we have the word unlike, so we have an antonym context clue. So if Jamal's room was immaculate and Jeffrey's room apparently was the opposite, what does the word immaculate mean? So we have the word messy, and then we have unlike. So Jeffrey's room was messy, and Jamal's room was the opposite, which means it must have been clean. But then we have this word very. So it was very messy, and Jamal's was unlike his. So he must have had a very clean room. Next, whereas Melissa is quiet, her sister is sonorous. What does that word mean? Whereas Melissa is quiet, her sister is sonorous. Melissa is quiet, and this is an antonym because we have that signal word that says whereas. Sonorous must be the opposite of quiet. The opposite of quiet, so she must be either loud or she has a different type of voice that may be more powerful. The last type of context clue that we want to talk about is a synonym. Remember, synonyms are words that have similar meanings. Signal words you may see may be likewise, like, especially, or, in that, similarly, in other words, that is, and. Commas, parentheses, and dashes may also help you to figure out if you have a synonym with a context clue. Let's look at the first word. It was a frigid winter night. In other words, it was freezing. So in this sentence, they actually give us a word that means the same as frigid. It was winter. That's one thing to think about. It was frigid. In other words, this signals that here is a synonym. It was freezing. So frigid must mean the same thing as freezing. Let's read the next sentence. The slender woman was so thin in that her clothes were too big on her. So we have the word slender, and we have a synonym that is nearby that gives us a similar meaning for it. And we must also consider the end of this sentence. It says, in that her clothes were too big on her. Her clothes were too big on her. And then we also have a synonym here for slender. So she must have been thin. Her clothes were falling off. Well, they weren't falling off of her, but they were too big on her. So she was thin. Let's read this paragraph and use the types of context clues that we have learned about to figure out the meaning of some unfamiliar words. Robert was an industrious person. He had many responsibilities. Along with going to class every day, he played football, took art classes, and played the piano 2 times a week. He also got up early each morning to help his dad with his newspaper business. Robert's accomplishments made him very arrogant. He thought he could do anything better than anyone. So, we have the word industrious and arrogant that we need to figure out. So we had Robert was an industrious person. He had many responsibilities. This is a sentence that's going to help us figure out the meaning of industrious. Let's see. He had many responsibilities. So Robert had a lot of things to do. He went to class every day. He played football. He took art classes. And he played the piano 2 times a week. He also got up early each morning to help his dad with his newspaper business. Let's think about what that word could possibly mean. We know that he wasn't lazy because he did a lot of things. He even got up early each morning to help his dad. What might that word mean? Let's also think about the word arrogant. Robert's accomplishments made him very arrogant. He thought he could do anything better than anyone. This sentence gives us an example or explanation for what arrogant means. Remember, graphic organizers can help us to organize the information from a text or a book we're reading. So, industrious and arrogant. We took some of the phrases and sentences and words from the passage. He had many responsibilities. He played football, he took piano classes, and he helped his dad. Industrious must mean busy, hardworking, diligent, because he did a lot of things, including getting up early helping his dad. And then we have arrogant. He thought he can do anything better than anyone. This sentence gave us the definition for arrogant, or it gave us a great explanation. He was prideful. He thinks he can do anything better than others. And that's all we have for today. Be sure that you study each type of context clues so that you will be familiar with them and so that you will be able to understand any unfamiliar word that you come across. On behalf of the Danville Church-Based Tutorial Program, we would like to thank the United Way and Danville, Pittsylvania County Foundation for their continued support. Thank you.